Planet Dolan.
From headbutting a desk by sneezing to getting knocked out by a toilet seat, the Planet Dolan crew reenacts some of the best true stories from our subreddit about the dumbest ways we've injured ourselves. I'm Pringle the One, and today I'll be your narrator. Number 10 was submitted by Groundbreaking Cat. Legna is famous in his school for having the loudest, most powerful sneezes. One time he was sitting in class when he felt the mother of all sneezes coming on. He tilted his head back like he was charging it up, then threw his head forward and sneezed. He thought that was the end of it, but he still had a few more sneezes in him. He sneezed a second time, then a third, then a fourth. With each sneeze, his body swung back and forth, and he felt his chest getting tight. On the final sneeze, he threw himself forward so quickly that he slammed his face against the desk. Blood started pouring out of his nose, and he saw stars. The whole class was really freaked out because there was so much blood. Legna went to the nurse who told him to go home. Number 9 was submitted by X Hoodie X. One time when Doopy was a kid, she woke up in the middle of the night needing to pee. All the lights were off, so she stumbled around in the dark until she finally found a bathroom. When she finished, she flushed the toilet and took a few steps backwards. Somehow her feet got tangled in the mat on the floor. She fell over and smacked her chin on the toilet seat. The impact was so hard that it knocked her out. Doopy's mom heard the loud crash, so she rushed in to check on her. After a few minutes, Doopy eventually came to and her mom gave her some warm milk. They stayed up together all night because her mom didn't want Doopy to go to sleep with a concussion. Number 8 was submitted by Secret Life of Talon. A few years ago, Tulip and Spincis were making homemade McMuffins for breakfast. They put all their ingredients on the counter, then Spincis went to cut muffins in half with a plastic butter knife. Tulip warned her to be careful, but Spincis just looked at him and said, "Yeah, right, like I'm gonna cut myself with a plastic butter knife." As she was speaking, she felt a stab of pain and looked down. She saw blood and realized that she'd somehow cut her hand open with the bluntest knife in the universe. They still laugh about it to this day. Number 7 was submitted by Wolfman370. When Silver Spider was 9 years old, his mom took him and his 2 brothers to a water park. It was a long drive to get there. When they finally arrived, they changed straight into their swimming clothes and ran for the first water slide they saw. But in his excitement, Silver Spider slipped on the wet tiles and fell at a weird angle. He ended up breaking his leg, all before he even touched the water. He was in so much pain that his mom had no choice but to take them all straight home. Silver Spider's brothers were so mad that they missed out on going on any rides because of their stupid, clumsy brother. Number 6 was submitted by Badner Brontletner. One time, Gooby and her family took a trip to Idaho. While they were there, they visited an old arcade that had a few kids' games. Her little sister Snoopy really wanted to drive the little cars around the track, but Gooby thought this was a baby's game and a total waste of her time. Her parents insisted that Gooby go on it for her sister, so she begrudgingly drove very slowly around the track. While complaining about how bored she was, Gooby lost her concentration and drove straight into the wall. The impact made her slam her face into the steering wheel and she got a severe nosebleed. One of the staff had to push her car to the finish line as she sprayed blood everywhere. Gooby's nose was swollen and sore for the rest of the trip, which ironically made her complain even more. Number 5 was submitted by The Friendly Idiot. One time Salty Squid was bored at camp, so he decided to teach himself how to backflip off a tree. Every day he practiced in secret until he was finally ready to show the group. He gathered everyone and told them that he was going to show them something awesome. With 15 pairs of eyes on him, he ran at the tree as hard as he could. He went to plant his foot into the tree trunk like he practiced, but he completely missed it. He ended up crashing and completely KOing himself. He was so embarrassed because he basically gathered everyone to watch him run into a tree. Number 4 was submitted by X Bughead Jones X. One night, Honeybits was lying on her bed reading a big hardcover book. After a while, she felt herself getting sleepy, but instead of putting the book away, she tried to force herself to stay awake and keep reading. The next thing she knew, she drifted off to sleep and her book fell and hit her in the face. She ended up cutting herself with the sharp corner of the book and needing stitches. Number 3 was submitted by Elk810. One time, Pandora was making herself some pasta. She decided to make her own sauce by shredding some leafy green vegetables in a blender. When she finished, she noticed there were leaves still stuck to the blades. Without thinking, she reached in to dig them out with her finger without unplugging the blender. While leaning in to get a better reach, she accidentally pressed the blender's power button with her other hand. The blender came on full blast and shredded a good chunk of skin off Pandora's finger. In a panic, Pandora ran around the kitchen trying to clean her wound. Blood was dripping everywhere and her pet ferret kept trying to lick it all off the floor. When she dressed her wound, she rushed herself to the emergency room and got her very first stitches. Her finger now has nerve damage and a permanent scar, but she at least learned a valuable lesson about how to safely operate blenders. Number 2 was submitted by SilverCat001. Helbin is a very lazy employee who likes taking frequent toilet breaks to screw around on his phone. One time, Helbin visited the restroom for the 10th time that shift. This time he actually needed to pee, so he stood in front of the urinal and went to town. When he finished, he zipped his pants up and squealed in pain. He looked down and saw the skin of his testicles had gotten caught in his zipper. He tried for 5 minutes to unzip it, but it refused to budge. Eventually, after a lot of force and a lot of pain, he finally got it unstuck. Needless to say, Helbin was very sore down there for the rest of his shift. Yo, that is probably one of my biggest fears. Number 1 was submitted by Moondust590. One day, Sidious was sitting on the couch cleaning his ears with a Q-tip. It was hot, so he decided to turn the ceiling fan on. But instead of getting up and doing it, he climbed over the couch with the Q-tip still in his ear and tried reaching for the fan switch. As he was doing this, he accidentally pushed the lever that makes the sofa recline. He lost his balance and fell hard on his side. The impact pushed the Q-tip deep into his ear, piercing his eardrum. It was the most painful thing he's ever experienced, and he had to be rushed to the hospital. It was definitely a hard punishment for being lazy. Huge thanks for the folks over on our Planet Dolan subreddit for submitting their stories. We have another question for you. What's something you did as a kid that's now creepy or weird? Let us know on the Reddit page linked below, and you might be featured in a future countdown.
What, Danger Don? Did you know that we have a countdown book featuring some of our best scripts on sale now? Links down below for the physical and ebook versions.
Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Take care, everybody. Peace.